go. What's happening, Jason? Thank you for being here on the Ride Boundless Podcast.
Thank you.
We've been waiting for a while to do this, huh?
Yeah, we have. A long time.
Closer you are to the mic, the better.
Okay, thank you.
It's been, we've known each other, almost 2 years. Did we know each other before the pandemic?
Even before the pandemic, I think it was like about maybe three and a half years or so.
Yeah, we met at the gym, and
Yeah.
we've been continuously at the gym.
Go beast mode. Universal LA Fitness.
That's right,
That's where it's at, yeah. So.
That's right. Please describe people how you would introduce yourself, what you do, and kind of the background and your success that you've been having.
So ever since I was really young, I was always into the weather at a very young age of 4 years old. I started doing like weather maps and all these different types of things and just really got involved. And the one thing that really got my interest in meteorology was we had a really bad storm in August, believe it or not, this month in 1992. It was actually a tropical system that came up to Southern California and brought almost 5 to 10 inches of rain to the region. And I was just so fascinated by the thunder and the lightning. And of course, when we had the Northridge earthquake in January 17th, 1994, all those different things just got my interest in earth sciences and climate, and then that's pretty much where I went. I did an internship with ABC7, worked with Dallas Rains for an internship in winter of 2008.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I remember we were in elementary school, at Noble Elementary School, and there was a really bad storm. It was actually during the El Niño of 97, 98, and it was November 9th. 1997, remember it was 90-something degrees that day. And I told our teachers at the time, I said, there's a really bad storm coming in from the Hawaiian Islands. And they looked at me like, really? Like, how do you know? I said, well, you could see the way the wind's starting to blow and it's going to start raining by the next day. We're going to have a lot of thunderstorms and rain. So they sent me to Miss Jackson, who was the principal at the time. And basically, she's like, all right, Jason, so if this does not happen, you're not talking about the weather for the rest of the time. And so pretty much what ended up happening is the next day, the sky literally opened up. They prepared the offices. I saved the offices a bunch of problems from occurring. And then they dubbed me the weatherman from that point on. And then I just, continued through school, the internship and everything along that line. And then just got really deeply involved in social media.
Well, before social media, you had the website.
Yeah, Climate 101 with Jason.
Yeah.
It was a blog spot. Remember that thing called the blog spot?
I don't remember that one, to be honest.
Yeah, so it was Climate 101 with Jason, and it was through Google, and you would basically be able to write your own forecast before Facebook and all this stuff and create a good formatting for what's going on. Now, some people will go to right away to the website. But then when social media came around, Facebook really started blowing up, Instagram stories, and everything along that perspective. That's when I was like, oh yeah, I need to jump on that wagon and really reach the masses and explain what's really going on with the weather. And then I also did a magazine for Malibu Magazine in 2019 about the Santa Ana winds, which is very reminiscent of what's happening now in the Hawaiian Islands. Terrible situation.
Terrible. I just saw some videos. There's a big fire.
Yeah.
I heard some people had to jump into the ocean so they wouldn't.
Almost.
What's going on?
Very, very similar to the Woolsey fire that occurred in November 8th, 2018. You had a big ridge of high pressure to the north, a deepening low to the south. The combination of two creates a great pressure differential. And that combination created almost like a northeasterly wind over the Hawaiian Islands. And man, something that started the fire, we're still trying to figure out how the fire really started. It could have been a power line. We're not too sure yet. But just like in Malibu, boom, it just took off. And it went straight to the ocean. And those wind velocities were at 75 to 80 miles per hour because of Dora, which was a Category 4 storm, at almost near 135 mile per hour sustained winds and gusts even higher. But because it was 745 miles away from the Big Island, it still had enough of a impact, believe it or not, to generate these powerful winds. And they literally just came up out of nowhere literally on August 8th and 9th, and just that was it. It just
That's
wild,
took
man. Off.
That's absolutely wild.
And Lahaina is basically,
how do you pronounce it?
Lahaina.
Lahaina?
Lahaina. Hopefully I said that right.
Yeah.
Apologize for everyone that is watching from Hawaii. But the western Maui County, I have a friend that lives in Maui, and he said his family was just devastated. Someone lost their homes. Oof. We're now finding out today that 36 people passed away from this. This is probably the worst disaster that has happened this year so far in the United States. In the Hawaiian Islands, probably the worst since the volcanic eruption in 2018 in May that occurred. Terrible. And that was on the big island of Hawaii. This is now Maui, which the next island over is Oahu. I actually went there just recently, back in 2022 in February. And it is such a beautiful island. The people are so nice and genuine. So my heart really goes out to them and what has occurred. But the real main situation of how this actually came about is El Nino. And El Nino is the warming of the equatorial Pacific off the coast of Peru. And right now, we're sitting at about 4 deviations hotter than normal, which is at 3.4 Celsius. That's extremely warm water, but it's also doing another thing. It's also warming the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico. In fact, off the coast of Florida right now and Cuba, it's 95 to 102 degrees. So it's causing bleaching effect for the coral reefs. And that's the situation.
How's this affecting the wildlife, the fishes and stuff?
Some of the fish are washing up on shore. There's no real confirmed reports of that, but it is occurring in small, isolated areas that this is occurring, especially down near the Keys and near Miami.
Yeah, when I was out of town, I got a message that Florida at one point was 102.
Yeah, it was just about 3 weeks.
102. A jacuzzi's 104. Yeah, exactly.
And increases the humidity as well. Their humidity, and they've been having one of the hottest Julys on record, including Arizona as well.
They beat Arizona or Arizona as well?
No, Arizona is really topping the charts. 110 degrees plus for over 30 days. Incredible. Big 594 heat dome that started in June in Texas. Texas hasn't got out of their heat wave. They're under excessive heat warnings now. And there was another heat wave that's coming in the next week and a half that's going to come. And that's what El Nino does. It enhances the heat, and that's happened in 97, 98. It enhances the heat across the northern hemisphere. But we're seeing also something else. It's also affecting South America too. Chile, Argentina also saw their hottest temperatures in their winter. Remember, northern hemisphere's summer, and then the southern hemisphere is winter, and they're seeing now unusual stuff. So climate change is also mixing into this and being like the Hulk now. You're having that combination of climate change and El Nino. We don't know where this is going to go.
Now, in your professional opinion, is this really something new, or it's been proven and historic that it's patterns?
We do see patterns, but we're also seeing definitely the climate change of extremely hot and extremely cold, extremely wet. We just saw in Vermont in July a 1,000-year rain event. Look at Fort Lauderdale, 64 inches of rain, the wettest on record since 1887, since they kept records. Now, we don't know exactly what happened before then.
100 years ago or 200. Yeah.
Exactly, but in our modern time, that's a lot of rainfall. And then in Sarasota, Florida,
El Nino was pretty messed up, and
this is all caused by El Nino. Yeah. El Nino is changing the trade winds and shifting it the opposite direction. And it's allowing for, look at even our winter that we just had, almost near 28 inches in downtown LA. We erased a drought just like that in less than 6 months that we thought that could never be done. Look at Santa Rosa, 40 inches of rain. So
this last year of rain.
Mm-hmm. And it was not an El Nino. It was a decaying La Niña. We had a cooler ocean sea surface temperatures, which actually is the opposite of El Nino. And it just allowed for a deepening Central Pacific low off of the Aleutian Islands. You had the right axis point for this low sitting right off of California, picking up that deep tropical moisture from, I guess, Hawaii. California and Hawaii are very close in tangent with each other. And it picked that moisture up, atmospheric river, came right on into San Francisco, deepening low pressure known as a bomb genesis, where the millibars of low pressure drops in a 24-hour period in a very short amount of time to very intense levels near 29.96. So that's that type of thing that we were seeing this past winter, and so it makes us think, are we going to see a similar situation this late November, December? Now, solutions are saying yes, but if we look back at, the El Nino of 2016, it was a big bad, we call it the super El Nino. 2015, 2016.
Wasn't there one 2009?
No, that was actually a weak La Nina, believe it or not.
2009, 2008? Because there was a big, I remember flooding.
You're talking about the December 2010 storms that rained for like 7 days.
And it was flooding. I was over here by Whitsett.
You don't even need an El Nino to produce tremendous. You just have to have the right, anomaly, right deepening low pressure off California, and the right high pressure axis point off of Mexico to steer that moisture around. And that's the type of situation that we're seeing, these anomalies, these unusual events that are getting more frequent.
Right.
Look at 04, 05. You had a long wave trough that came through. Look at Santa Barbara. It was 35 inches of rain in less than a 2 to 4 day period. LA County almost near, we got 38.75 inches of rain with all said and done. That's more than this year. And this year was very similar to 04, 05 in some respects, but it also had a combination of December of 2010 as well. So it's going to be really interesting, and the fires that occurred in Maui reminds me that we need to be prepared for fire season coming. Even though we had all this rain, it's this extremely intense heat. It doesn't matter how much rain you get in California. It's about how quickly these intense Santa Ana events can develop. And you saw, just like in Maui, in a blink of an eye, we could be looking at a major fire situation. We've even had some small fires in Riverside County last several days. No wind driven, which is a good thing, but you never know. When we get into, around October 15th is usually when the Santa Ana wind season starts, and around Halloween, usually around that time, or even into November, we just have to look back to the Woolsey fire, which devastated the community of Malibu, and Agora Hills, Thousand Oaks. Look at the Thomas fire in December 2017. Incredible stuff.
Is that your biggest concern for us, for California?
I think the combination that we're seeing is a double-edged sword, which either is really torrential rain or the haves and the have-nots. We're either going to see very, 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 very major flooding and mudslides in this winter, or we're not going to see anything, and we're going to see fires and everything along that line. And that's the pattern that we've been going through since if we look back to 2012, when we had that 6 to 10 year drought, you could see how dry it got. But look how quickly now, we're in 2023, look how quickly the atmosphere just responded just like that in such a short amount of time. So even as, weather specialists, meteorologists, climate specialists, we're looking at all these different data that's going on. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing what's occurring.
What about, I remember a few months ago, I think. I don't remember if it was in Long Beach or Anaheim, but there was a tornado.
Yeah.
Which is not normal in California, right? And then there's been like a hurricane watch or something. Is that true?
Yeah, so what's happening is when we get these progressive storm patterns, especially because El Nino technically started in February, what it does, it enhances the southern jet stream that comes in from the subtropical regions of Guam, Tahiti, Fiji, and comes across right into Southern California, right into Texas and into Florida. And what it does is it's very super moist laden storms. And then you get a little mixture of some colder air that comes in with this moisture laden atmosphere, and you get your severe weather. That's why we saw all those tornado outbreaks in, Montebello, California, EF1
Montebello.
tornado.
Yeah.
March 28th, 2023 at 11:45 a.m. People were like, what is this? Is this really? And look at Carpinteria, EF0 tornado, So we had it back in March 1st, 1980. We actually had some tornadoes that have occurred 1983, 1980. Don't quote me on the exact time, just trying to remember it. But yes, we had those severe storms. And during El Nino type situations, you get a very strong cold front, and you have the warm front sector right overhead, deep moisture coming up from the tropics, that cold air clashing. You get that turning of heights. You get those thunderstorms that develop. Just like that, you can get tornadoes, even here in Southern California, even in Central California, even in Northern California, even in Arizona. So it's...
That was the other one, the Central Coast, Salinas and Watsonville and Santa Cruz County.
Santa Cruz got nailed, bro.
Right? Yeah, remember.
Nailed.
I lived in Santa Cruz.
The pier was washed away. That was that bomb cycle deepening storm.
Watsonville, right underneath.
Yeah.
That's like, I don't know if people know this, but Watsonville and then Castroville and Salinas, they're like 70 or 80% of produce comes from there, especially for California.
$1 billion disaster, the agriculture that had occurred from those storms from literally...
But then they were fucked previously because of the drought.
Exactly. Isn't that crazy? That's just the double-edged sword. It's just the Owens Valley flooded out too. We're getting a new river, lakes that are forming now. Oroville is now filled up completely.
Did you see Alaska, the houses going into the river? Because I guess like there was a river dam or something that had melted.
Permafrost.
Permafrost.
And that's because the warmer than average El Nino enhances warmer than average weather across even Alaska's been a little bit warmer than average.
Let's talk. I want to dumb this down because if you say, have I heard of El Nino? Of course I heard of El Nino.
Yeah.
But the way that you're using El Nino, like that wasn't El Nino, this was the El Nino. What is the definition of El Nino?
El Nino is a phenomenon that happens every 2 to 7 years. And a big one usually happens every about maybe 10 to 15 years or so. And a super one maybe every 20 to 30, technically.
And what categorizes it?
Yeah. So an El Nino is the warming of the Pacific Ocean. Okay. A La Niña is the cooling of the Pacific Ocean off the coasts of Peru. So two complete opposites. The trade winds are different. It sloshes from one side to the other. And I'm trying to simplify it as best as I can.
No, that's nailed it.
Yeah. So basically that's what ends up occurring. In El Nino, you have the opposite effect where all the warm water sloshes over to Peru. Okay. In a La Nina, everything sloshes over to Indonesia. So that's the difference. In an El Nino, it promotes a more deeper Aleutian low, Central Pacific low, to generate a very strong East Pacific jet stream from Japan to Philippines, kind of similar like we had this past winter, right into California and cause storm after storm after storm scenario. I was just in Lake Tahoe for about a week with one of my friend's birthdays, actually two of my friend's birthdays. And I was up about 9,650 at Heavenly Valley Resort in South Lake Tahoe. They still had snow. You could still see snow on August 3rd, 2023. There still was snow.
It was snowing till like April, May?
May 4th. May the 4th be with you.
I had friends snowboarding.
I know.
I was like, what, is this from like a long time? No, they're like, this is now.
Mammoth Mountain had, in the backside of the country, had almost near 906 inches of snow. South Lake Tahoe, I was talking to some of the residents when I was out there, 587 inches of snow. And you go there now, it's like nothing even happened. It's so crazy how quickly things can change in just a blink of an eye.
That's wild, man.
I know.
What's the craziest event, since you've been studying weather, what's the craziest event that you have seen?
There's been too many. I mean, the Woolsey Fire. I mean, the
ones
Woolsey
you met.
Fire, the rainstorm that we've been seeing this past winter. We literally have gone from a severe D4 or D5 drought. For those that don't know what that is, that's like extreme, exceptional drought situation. And we literally went from that to nothing. If you look at the drought monitor now, I think the only area that's left a teeny bit of drought is the eastern Mojave Desert. They're waiting for the monsoonal flow. That's been not that strong because we're still waiting for hurricane season. There's still a lot to go. We still have all of August and September, even into October. And sometimes with El Nino, you could see warmer than average sea surface temperatures already occurring off the coast of Southern California and into the Sea of Cortez, the Gulf of California. And so we're looking at possibly another tropical system, another remnant system for Nanda. Yeah, these names, right? You know.
Why is it always women's names?
It's women, it's men too.
Yeah.
You know.
But it's usually women.
We had Adrian. You know, we had Calvin.
Adrian's both boy or girl.
Yeah, I know. You know.
Rocky, Adrian.
That'd be cool. We had a Rocky storm, right?
Yeah.
Rocky, yeah.
Yeah, or Hulk, or
We had Katrina.
Thor.
You know.
Katrina girl.
Yeah, Katrina. And then, you know, Katia.
Yeah, I was in Hurricane Andrew.
Oh, that's
Andrew
amazing.
was a guy.
Yeah.
My brother was with me on that one, and then he moved back, and he was in Katrina.
Tell me the story about what you went through with Hurricane Andrew. I want to hear your perspective on it.
Well, we went and we boarded. This is what, 1992, 93 or something like
Yeah.
that. We went and bought the boards and we boarded up everything. We couldn't see outside. It sounded like the ocean was, you know, outside of our window. You know, we lived in an apartment building.
Wow.
We went out what we believe was the eye of the storm, but we were in a big, solid concrete apartment building.
Oh, no.
So we went out and we went out and we grabbed, and then we started feeling that it was closing in because we felt the wind. And I was like, this is cool. My older brother was like, get over here, stupid. I'm like, you're stupid. And then my mom's like, estúpidos, you get in here. And then we ran back inside. And then realistically, we just shut ourselves in for like 3-4 days. And we were just eating out of cereal boxes, no power, no electricity. And it just sounded like we were in a ship. And it's just
One of the costliest hurricanes in U.S. history before Katrina. Literally, it was August 24th, 1992 at 5:45 in the morning, right near Homestead, Florida. Category 5 monster. Eye wall, barreling down. The winds were 175
that's
miles per
Andrew.
hour.
Andrew.
Yeah, that's Andrew.
So when we finally got out,
Yeah.
we lived in a big, solid apartment building.
You were lucky.
When we went out, the house in front of us was gone. There was we lived across the street from a lake, and there was this big, giant tree.
crazy.
Humongous.
That's
I'm talking about
crazy.
big.
That's crazy
And I had
stuff.
carved my initials with my girlfriend. That
Wow.
tree was gone. The tree was gone. The lake was missing water because I guess it just sucked it all out.
Yeah.
The lake was missing water. The park, it was completely trashed.
Hurricanes
was
are
completely
nothing
trashed.
to joke around with. They're
Oh,
like,
it was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. And I think we were okay in a sense, one, because we were kids, and two, because of that apartment building.
right.
But that house in front of us, dude, I can't even imagine. I don't even know if they were there or not there. And you don't have the social media to know what's happening.
Isn't that crazy how social media has just taken everything just made, weather so more fascinating?
Yeah.
Really, because people get to see now what's happening in real time, and with weather, with earthquakes.
Well,
with
not only that, but
everything.
if you can access a camera,
Yeah.
the news, if they can access a weather camera in Florida, they can see what's going on in Florida.
Exactly. See exactly
Plus
what's going
whatever individual people witness and post.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And that's what's so great about social media too, is because we are now the news people. We now are our own individual, telling each individual story.
Yeah.
And that's what's so amazing. That's the way I like to look at social media. It's like each person's story on Instagram, they all have a story to tell. You just got to look at the story and look within. You know?
Well, it's back to the simple example of you know, if there's a situation that happens, you know, there's your side of the story, there's my side of the story, there's the truth.
Exactly.
And then, or not even that, if you have 10 people in a room and a disaster happens, you're going to have, each person's going to tell a different story.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Each person's going to tell a different story. No, what's crazy is that if you interview those same 10 people a month later, how much stories change. Or what you believe you remember. You know,
it kind of deciphers.
It kind of deciphers.
It's like telephone,
right? Because then you start thinking, "No, I think this happened. Yeah, that's what happened." And then you're like, "Yeah, no, it was like this." And then all of a sudden, it's like, "No, the guy with the green sweater." And they're like, "There was nobody with a green sweater.
Right?
It was a gray sweater. No, there wasn't even a guy with a sweater." It's just people's memory. But now with social media, people do a live feed. Like for example, I like the Citizen app.
Yes. I
like the Citizen app because it tells you what's going on, but then if somebody knows how to use the app and starts filming, you get to see what's happening at that moment from 4 or 5 different people's angles. And it's just interesting getting that much information on a situation.
I know.
And that's what's happening now with all social media.
All social media. It's just that's just, like I said, great for technology and for the world too as well. And what we're seeing and how things are kind of.
And we're not relying on one source of like Fox News to tell us, I got to turn on Fox News at 5 and see what happened today.
Yeah.
You know, it's on demand.
And the Northridge earthquake, I wish we had more media coverage now.
I was in that one too.
Bro, I was living in Panorama City at the time.
I lived in Koreatown.
Oh, whoa.
I lived in Koreatown. It was like, 4:30 in the morning or something like that?
We had a nurse that was, I'll tell the story to everyone. We had a nurse. I was 6 years old when this earthquake struck. And we had a nurse that was going to Northridge Hospital. She went in the elevator. She was in the elevator, bro. The elevator.
Fuck. That's like the worst.
She did not know that the magnitude 6.7 earthquake, that was going to be like the most costliest earthquake in Southern California's history from that standpoint, was going to be like occurring. And you can hear her saying, "Get me out of here." And it was, oh my God, when it was shaking, I remember I was in my bedroom and my grandma had this little nightlight. That thing just went to the ground. It didn't break, but you could hear, before the actual earthquake arrived, you could hear the windows kind of like a kind of low rumble.
Yeah.
And it hit. I'm telling you, when it hit so quick, that was 42 seconds of literally sheer terror. And the Gen Z culture that's never been through anything like that, it was something that was a sheer nightmare. And I still remember it. And that's really also pushed me into the weather and earthquakes and all that fun stuff.
The aftershocks.
Oh, the aftershocks.
I remember 8 o'clock, 8:15, 8:30.
Yes.
We were like, we just said, fuck it, we're going outside.
Yeah. It was like shit. It was crazy. I remember that the magnitude 5.3 earthquake that happened the day after, or there was a magnitude 5.5 that occurred. Wow.
You want to hear craziness?
Yeah.
Check this out.
Go.
We were in 1989 earthquake in San Francisco too.
Oh, wow. Loma Prieta.
Yeah.
October 17th.
5:30 or 5 something, World Series going on. We were in that one. All our china broke. We ran out of the building. It was insane.
Magnitude 7.2.
It was the bridge collapsed.
Yeah.
We were in that one. Look, goosebumps like crazy. We were in that one, and then we had some family that says, "Get out of California, come to Florida." And
Andrew.
My mother hated Florida because of the humidity. She doesn't do good with that heat. That's why we originally moved to California.
Right.
So we go back to Florida, and then these summers and the humidity and these tropical storms, and then Andrew comes in, and we're like, dude, fuck this, dude. Let's go back to California. We come back to LA, and then we get the earthquake, San Andreas. So I've had 2 earthquakes and 1 hurricane, and my brother's had 2 earthquakes and 2 hurricanes.
Yeah, actually, the Northridge earthquake was called the Northridge Blind Thrust Fault. We haven't had the San Andreas Fault, knock on wood. You know?
Yeah. It was Northridge.
Right. Northridge. Yeah, so it was basically see some look like a pancake.
The San Francisco one was San Andreas, no? No.
It was kind of close to the San Andreas, but not quite.
Not quite.
Not quite, no.
Yeah. Yeah, and then same thing. I was just, 7 years old at the time, 1989?
No way.
Yeah, 7 or something like that.
So you went through your first earthquake. Wow, that's nuts.
Yeah.
And I was 6 years old when I went through my first earthquake. Wow.
And I'll tell you, I don't know. I don't know what was scarier, going through an earthquake at 4:30 in the morning when you don't know what's going on.
Always the morning. I don't know what it is about the morning.
No, but the one in San Francisco
that was 5.
That was evening.
Yeah.
That was like 5:30 or something.
Same thing with Ridgecrest. It was in the evening as well. It was 7 o'clock in the evening. That was basically July 4th and 5th. We had the big Ridgecrest earthquake that occurred, near Ridgecrest, the Ridgecrest earthquake. And the first one occurred was a magnitude 6.4. And then you had about a day of a delay, and then boom, that one hit. I was getting off of work at the time. I remember my car was in the shop, so one of my friends dropped me off. And I remember as soon as I stepped out of the car, walked to my condo, boom. And I'd never been outside during an earthquake. The trees were like moving back and forth. So, yeah.
What's done more damage than anything? Hurricane, tornado, or earthquake?
All of them have different types of damage.
Of consequences.
Yes. Heat waves are very deadly. So heat waves are actually, floods. Floods are the number one killer. Floods.
Huh?
Because floods can happen in a moment. Flash floods happen right in the night, but heat waves now are becoming.
But Universal Studios has a flash flood
every
hour.
Yes, they do. On the tram tour, you should go
tram
check it out. Exactly. And they have an earthquake.
Every 30 minutes.
And they have an earthquake on there.
And they're fine, man. What's going on?
I know. Well,
no, that's
movie
so
magic,
floods, So floods is the number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Floods. You have heat waves, hurricanes contribute.
Okay,
storm surge.
I guess. Let me rephrase the question. What has had the most deaths? Because you're right, damage can, like a tornado, can fuck shit up. A hurricane can mess things up.
Well, hurricanes coincides with floods. Storm surge that can go all the way inland. We saw that with Katrina. Look at the 9th Ward, devastation. You saw that with Ian. Last September, look what it did to Fort Myers and Naples. Obliterated. And that was that storm surge that was 15, 20 foot that gets pushed by that deep central deepening low pressure center by the hurricane, pushes that wall of water on. Also tsunamis. Look at the Indonesian tsunami, Indian tsunami in December 26, 2004. Or the Japan tsunami. 20,000 plus people gone.
I heard
200,000 plus people gone in the December 26th. That was
devastating.
Yeah.
No, devastating.
Magnitude 9.9 earthquake, on a subduction zone plate in the Indian Ocean. Same thing off of Japan,
Is it true that California can't get a tsunami?
At this point, no. California cannot get a tsunami because you have the Pacific plate and you have the North American plate, and it's landlocked. Yeah. So you cannot get us now.
That's what I heard. So
now the opposite is with the subduction of the Cascadia subduction zone in the Pacific Northwest. That's right off the coast of Seattle, goes down into Northern California. That one did produce a tsunami back in the 1700s, and it caused the ghost forest in the Pacific Northwest. In fact, they did a lot of research on that. And the orphan tsunami that hit Japan, they didn't know where it came from. They found out that that was from that type of movement from the subduction plate boundaries going underneath one each other in like a springboard. Boom. It pushed that water column up very, very high.
So, but very, very rare. It's not impossible, but like chances are.
It's rare, Rare.
I want, tell me your opinion on this real quick.
Okay.
I posted a drone video. This is kind of random, but you'll see where I'm getting at. So I was at a buddy's house in Malibu, and he lives right on the water.
Right.
Okay. And I pulled out my drone, and I did this drone shot of, waves splashing into the rocks, onto the property. Real nice, just beautiful.
Right.
I post this, and I think nothing of it. Like, it's a beautiful shot, right?
Right.
All of a sudden, I start getting comments and comments, and then people starting to fight, like, you're stupid, no, you're stupid, and all this, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what's going on? And then I read one of the key words, and it's like, global warming, and then the other one's like, you're an idiot, you know? And here's how the conversation started.
So political.
It got political as fuck. Here's how it started. It started with this. A person wrote, look, these houses were built more than 50, 60 years ago.
Right.
And the shoreline hasn't even gone up an inch. Fuck you, you global warm believers. Oh, yeah, that's not how it works. And then they started breaking this down. But what is your thought process of those houses were built 50, 60 years ago, maybe even 70 years ago? And the only real damage they suffered, like when my buddy bought his house, he scored on the house, but he had to redo the framing, the metal beams, because the salt water had destroyed those beams, eroded them. Yeah. So he had to do like replacements. But there hasn't been much ocean rise in that sense. What's your thought?
Well, see, the whole thing with ocean rise or sea surface, rising, so to speak. Look at the Marshall Islands in the South Pacific. Okay, they actually put, for the last 50 years, it's funny you mentioned 50 years, 50, 60 years, they put one of those like little sticks, these sticks right in between it and this house that was there for a long time. The water, every time, it wouldn't happen like normally. It happens when there was big storms. That's how we're going to have to find out how sea level rise affects everybody, is when we get storms that are bigger than normal, like 20, 30-year events, 100-year events, usually during major El Niños. Everything always goes back to El Niño or La Niña. And that is the main driver of all these main serious storm patterns that we see, So I think it's kind of a hypothesis seeing what will happen to Southern California's coastline, especially Malibu. But we have seen Malibu 1995, when we had the major storms, those homes fell into the ocean. I don't know if you remember that one.
No, I don't.
Yeah, so some of the homes fell into the ocean.
There was no social media to...
Yeah, there was not. January 1995, probably a year after the Northridge earthquake, that year we got a lot of rain, over 13, 14 inches of rain. It was a very wet January, and it just took several big storms. It only takes one storm, Robert, to cause...
Oh, to set us back.
Yeah, that's it. Only one massive earthquake. Only one.
Look at Puerto Rico when they had their hurricane. That took
Hurricane Maria.
Yeah, Hurricane Maria.
Hurricane Irma.
And then the earthquake on Haiti.
Yes. Yeah, remember that one?
Yeah, I had somebody on the
January
podcast.
2010.
Yeah, I had somebody on the podcast. He was in the Navy. He was a helicopter pilot, and he was one of the first helicopters to touch land to provide help and get evac people for medical reasons.
He did some good work there.
Oh, he did.
Extraordinary work. Tell him I said that. Extraordinary work.
He's listening to this.
Yeah.
He listens to this. Papa John.
Oh, wow.
He's amazing.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's amazing for that. But yeah, it just one bad event. I mean, again, Hurricane Andrew, Katrina, 89 in San Francisco, 93 here.
We've gone through it, haven't we?
New York's had, didn't they have like a bad flood like maybe 4 or 5 years ago?
Hurricane Sandy.
Sandy,
Battery Park, New Jersey. It was a hybrid storm. Came around Halloween. Came up usually around late September through around Halloween. Storms sometimes take a northerly trajectory. Remember, the jet stream's starting to change now. It's starting to buckle further south. We start seeing a little bit of that colder air starting to filter down to the Great Lakes and the Appalachians.
I was going to ask, Michigan. Didn't Michigan have something a few months ago?
They did.
I had a friend in Michigan. He was telling me that they had like a crazy winter storm or...
Yeah, well, you have those polar vortexes that come down where you get cold air that comes all the way down from the Arctic Circle. And it's almost like a refrigerator door opening up and spilling as far south. Look what happened to Texas in 2021 in February.
Yeah, they were freezing.
Yeah,
their water lines.
And now they're baking.
Yeah, their water lines busted, right?
Yeah,
they froze.
I had a friend that was over in Texas, my friend Alicia, and she was down there in Texas during those extreme cold, and she showed me video of like the pipes bursting, and also there was water going into the garages. I had many friends that were showing me all these different types of things and they're not built for cold. They're built for heat, but they're not built for cold. Same thing like California. Look at this past March. Snow everywhere. It wasn't a lot of snow, but like
we're not built for.
We're not built for that. People were literally like, oh, they thought it was awesome that Disneyland got a grapple. Grapple is a form of snow. It's not completely snow. Universal Studios got some grapple. Now the foothills of Altadena, Pasadena got a bunch of snow. So like I said, we're seeing so much extremes, and I think this is just the start.
Well, you're going to have your hands full, and it's
going to be busy this year.
Unlimited work, and you have a lot to report on.
A lot going on.
Briefly tell me, first of all, congratulations. You've been able to kind of step away from your day-to-day routine and now go for your passion.
Yes.
Can you tell me about that?
So basically, I'm on TikTok. You heard of TikTok, right?
Yeah, I've heard of it once or twice.
TikTok, right? Yeah, once or twice.
It's the German company, right?
I'm called Weather Daddy on TikTok. I know, right?
That's your handle, right?
That's my handle,
That's
Weather Daddy.
That's awesome.
Thank you. And basically, I bring the real, honest truth.
That's almost like a porno name, too.
Don't say
the Weather Daddy. Predicting wet, moist storm.
Well, I mean, I hit the gym, you know. I mean, so I guess no. But no, it's not. It's not going to split.
Are you saying you're single?
I am. But it gives, it gives really, informative information. I do a lot of POVs. I like to really kind of give the visualization what's going on, but also give, a live streams. I do live streams daily now. And of course, we've had the Maui fires, 3 times a day I do that. In fact, just before I came here, I was doing a live stream this morning at 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock, So it's really exciting to be able to do this now. And then I got also interviewed with KTLA 5 on, this happened back in January.
Well, I think,
Yes. And during about the storms, and it was broadcasted in Sacramento. And first I thought it was just going to be like, they were going to do just like a little segment, but then they ended up putting my face on there with Zoom, you could do Zoom now and everything. So it was pretty cool. And then my coworker's like, hey, look, you're on TV. And I'm like, I am? I'm like, no way. And then, all these different things happened. And, being verified on Instagram, that whole thing for, everyone started paying, that started happening. All these different types of things that started kind of occurring was it really has kind of changed my life, looked at things a different perspective, and I'm just going along with the journey. Met some really great people. Evan from
LA in a
minute. Mutual friends. Fantastic stories that he does on Los Angeles. Shout out to him.
Shout out. He's blowing up.
He's phenomenal, and he gives some really amazing historic insight. Yeah. So he does some really good stuff.
Yeah, he's on top of it. He's on top of it. He's blowing up.
Oh,
and
he is.
He's getting. I'm happy.
And then he mentioned me too. So hats off to him. I think it's very, very nice that he did that.
Can I take credit for setting you guys up together?
Robert. Appreciate you, brother.
Awesome, man.
Appreciate you, brother, for connecting. Absolutely. So,
awesome. That's good, man.
You can
that's been.
You can take 100% credit. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
You heard it here first.
There you go.
No, but that makes me happy, man. I've been blessed with the podcast to sit down and listen to you and Evan and everybody I've had on the podcast. I learned from you guys a lot, so I want to thank you guys for the time.
Thank you.
And then I love hearing about the success stories that come out of the podcast. Yeah. There's people that, they've changed the way they do things because of the podcast, or they network with each other because of the podcast. So this is my excitement as I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
I haven't done this in 2 months because I've been traveling.
I know you went to Dubai.
Oh, dude, I was everywhere.
Oh my gosh.
Dubai, Paris, Armenia, back to Dubai, back
and you
to
learn
Armenia.
so many different cultures and the way things are. It's
exciting
to me.
And I wish I would have had more of a chance to to do podcast out there. It's just there wasn't enough time to schedule it and share those experiences. But as I'm sitting here with you in my studio and you as my guest, inside in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, fuck, I love this, man. This is so much fun, dude.
It is fun.
Like, like just learning about all these topics and having these conversations are so intricate that it's never boring, So anyways, your TikTok fame, you have now how many followers? And
88,000 now. I never thought that. I mean, weather people and stuff like that. I'm all organic. I want everything organic. So I just, it's all about building a rapport with your longtime followers. I have people that have been following me for about 3 years now. I've been on TikTok.
Which is a long time for social media.
Yes, it is. It's a very long time. And, I have some great moderators. It's all new to me, but now I'm getting used to everything now. It's starting to kind of trying to absorb everything. It's still even now you're getting used to new things because TikTok's always changing. Instagram is always changing. Threads now, look at that. So that's some stuff I'm putting out there. Twitter, no, not the bad Twitter. I'm not on the bad Twitter, folks. Jason61987. So I do my operational meteorology forecasts on there too. You could look for me on my Instagram at the Farhang. You could also look for me at Weather Daddy on TikTok.
This is why you need to continue having a webpage.
Yeah, and maybe I'm going to start the Climate 101 with Jason again.
Yeah.
I haven't done that since before
you want to do
2019.
You want to do that because what I realize with Instagram and TikTok is your content is very good at that moment.
Right.
But then it falls into a black hole and it kind of disappears. And if you're not constantly doing stuff daily, you disappear.
And people's attention spans are less than 5. I don't know if you guys know this. 5 to 7 seconds.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's insane, and it's getting worse. It's getting worse.
Way worse. Way worse. Like some people that start watching my videos, if a random person watches one of my videos, they're like, "Hey, dude, your videos are cut pretty fast," and I'm like, "Yeah, trust me, I know because I've made hundreds of videos, and the ones that are not chopped up fast, they don't get a good. People don't watch it all the way." People want like that. People want that cut.
Yeah. They want.
Let's go. Oh fuck! Yo, nice video.
Exactly.
But if it's just like, hey guys, this is me. Next.
Yeah, it's true.
It's fucking crazy.
It's true.
It's wild.
It's true. You have to have the hook. You have to get people into.
But then when you have a fan base and you have people that are loyal to you, they're gonna want that one place where they can follow you and go to their website and see that daily blog, or what are your other social medias? Like right now, I'm gonna critique something. You just gave a website, your TikTok, your Twitter, your Threads, and they're all different names and users.
I know.
You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
That's like the only thing that's gonna save your butt on that is having a website where they can go one website and find that stuff.
Or Linktree.
Or Linktree.
I don't even know how to do that.
Yeah, or you're gonna have to you're gonna have to try to get Weather Daddy for all your social media. It's hard, I know, but that's something you should consider. Last question: what's where do we see Jason in 5 years from now? What's the goal? What do you want, man?
Goal is to continue doing what I'm doing, make people really informed about the weather and earthquakes and whatever is out there because everything's gonna be drastically changing. I definitely want to do work in an actual news industry.
You would do that?
Yeah, I would do that. But I also like the freedom that I'm doing now. So whatever comes my way, to be very honest with you.
I would say make your goal where you're doing it by yourself and you start making great money.
Yeah.
And fuck a corporate job.
Right.
Fuck showing up at a certain time,
right,
reporting what they want to report, speaking the way you want to speak. Fuck that. Like that's so 20 years ago, man.
I know everything's so changed now.
That's like me saying, like, what do you think would be more exciting?
Corporate jobs are so stressful nowadays.
Oh, dude.
So stressful nowadays.
You say the wrong thing to a person next to you.
Yep.
You like whatever, you make a joke or
Can't say, yeah.
you know, it's so much restriction. It's like, what would I rather have? Would I rather blow up my podcast and get a bigger studio and bigger guests and bigger sponsorships and bigger everything and have it be mine? Or would I want to work for like Power 106? Like, I don't want to work for Power 106.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even interested. Like, if they call me up and they say, dude, we'll pay you $150,000 and I'm not making nothing right now on my podcast, I'd be like, no, thank you. I'm not interested. Like, why would I do that? I get to go, you know, come and leave, and I get to talk to whoever I want. If I want to talk to a Trump supporter, I'll talk to a Trump supporter. If I want to talk to a Biden supporter, I can talk to whoever I want. If I want to do this in Spanish, I'll do this in Spanish.
You could do whatever you feel. You have that, you know, you're the boss.
I'm the boss.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
There's no limits. If you want to be on my...
You're the beast mode boss. That's what you got to, you know, that's what you got to do.
Yeah. And my dream goal is to, like, make this bigger. And I love this.
Oh, it is,
This
bro.
This is badass, but I want to make this bigger.
It is. Trust me.
You know, I do.
It is. It's happening. It's happening right now.
It's
happening right now.
It's happening right as we speak.
As we speak. As we speak.
Jason, any last words? Any recommendations? Any motivational tips? Any?
Keep on doing what you do. Be consistent, dedication, and perseverance. There are going to be storms in life. Just you got to go with the flow of it, and never ever give up. That's it.
I like that. Jason, I'll have you again whenever you want. Thank you for coming.
Oh, there's going to be a lot. We're going to have rain. We're going to have wind. We're going to have maybe who knows what else, you know. So.
Wow, we know who to call when it comes.
There you go.
Till next time, brother.
Thank you, brother.